has been 2 weeks since I made a video. I'm sorry, but there's a lot of stuff been going on. I'll tell you about it tomorrow in my vlog video, but tonight is my review video. Now, you're probably wondering why I'm not going that way anymore, why you don't see this background instead of the current background I'm at right now. This background is a side view of my place because I am no longer using this computer. I am now using this one. It's not much of a change, just placement changing. I didn't want to have to sit in that seat, plus there's a lot of stuff going on and I don't want to have to deal with some of that right now, so I'm just going to do it from here. Now, I'm going to be reviewing a book, but it is not just any book for you guys. It is my very first ebook review. It is the book by Rick Riordan, The Son of Sobek. Now, this book came out, I'd say, about a month ago. It is a short story where Rick Riordan finally combines the long-awaited combination of the Percy Jackson world and the Kane Chronicles universe. Basically, it's only an ebook. You can't buy it paperback, which is the only reason I'm not showing that to you guys. I downloaded it onto my iPod and I read it in a day. It was really good. I really enjoyed it, so I'm going to tell you guys all about it. If you don't want spoilers, don't watch. So, to start off with, it starts out with Carter Kane. It's in the entire ebook is in his viewpoint. It starts out with he's heard some stories about this crocodile that is like terrorizing Long Island, New York. So he goes over there and just by himself because the other people in his gnome are currently at a mission at a training camp to conquer cheese demons, which, as you know, if you read the Kane Chronicles, cheese is the 5th element. Weird, but whatever. So he goes after this monster, and when he gets there, he finds this giant crocodile in this swamp. It's huge, and before he can get a real good look at it, the only thing he sees is the crocodile, a glimpse of the amulet it's wearing, and then the inside of its belly. The crocodile eats him very quickly, and it's a very tight fit. He barely missed being snapped in half. So he's inside the crocodile's belly. He's holding his sword, but he can't use it because his arms are at his side, and he has one breath. And so he's trying to figure out how to get out. He can summon a word of power, but he's not very good with it. So he is trying to figure out what to do. And he is about to summon a word of power, do some magic, you know, but just before he can, the crocodile throws him up. Like, just all of a sudden throws him up and runs away. And when he looks back at what did this, Percy Jackson is standing right there. Of course, Carter doesn't know it's him yet, and he can't read his shirt. All he can see is camp. For some reason, he can't read the Half-Blood part. So Percy and Carter kind of meet. Percy is a little dumbstruck because he didn't know that anybody was in the crocodile. The crocodile has been terrorizing Long Island and the camp for a long time, and he's kind of dumbstruck at the fact that when he stabbed the crocodile, it didn't just dissipate like most monsters do when you stab them with celestial bronze. And Carter is trying to explain to him that this isn't gonna die. This monster is not a monster that you can kill. Because it is protected by an Egyptian god, but they don't use those words. Better-ish. So what happens is they're both kind of like, they're talking about their own worlds as if the other person knows, but the problem is the other person doesn't know. Percy's just kind of trying to figure out exactly what kind of demigod this guy is because he can see through the mist, and Carter's trying to figure out what kind of magician he is because he is able to process magic and understand it. And they both have this kind of feeling that they're crossing into a boundary, into a world where they really shouldn't be crossing into. So they finally decide to put aside their differences, because they do start to fight. They decide to put aside their differences and go after the crocodile, and they end up defeating it. But they end up defeating it, but they really wear themselves out in the process. Carter has depleted all of his magical resources. Percy's basically used up all his energy trying to use his water powers to conquer the crocodile. And of course they do defeat it. They remove the amulet, which turns it into this baby 3-foot crocodile, and the amulet just goes back to normal size. Afterwards, they take the crocodile and the amulet and they go to a diner where Carter pulls money out of the duat, and they have food and they start talking a little bit. And they don't really tell each other anything about their worlds, because it's a very taboo subject. They don't know that for sure, but they can feel it, that they shouldn't have met, but for some reason they did. And they start to talk, and they start to realize whatever brought this here, because somebody had to put the amulet onto the crocodile to turn it into what it was, and that somebody probably knew that they would meet and was trying to get them to meet. And the only way that they can keep that person from winning is by basically keeping each other's identities a secret. All they tell each other is their names. From Carter's point of view, you get to the feeling that he's starting to get curious. He realizes that Percy is talking about Greek stuff for whatever reason. He doesn't know exactly why, but is going to kind of look into it, you can tell. So this does take place in the midst, before Percy goes on the series for the Heroes of Olympus, because he mentions the Doors of Death. It's probably like somewhere in the middle. He mentions, what are you, a monster that's come out of the Doors of Death at one point. He accuses him to be. So you can get that this is in the middle of that series. It's not afterwards, it's not before, it's like in the middle, because he understands what the Doors of Death means at that point. So it's sometime after the third book, it's sometime after the second book, when he's come back and he realizes what blah 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 blah, you know, whatever, blah blah. The book ends with they are about to go their separate ways, but then they realize, what if they don't know who they are. They know where they live. Percy knows that he lives in Brooklyn, and he knows that Percy lives in Long Island at whatever camp it is, Camp Half-Blood. And they start to realize, wait a second, what if we're in danger by this person who brought us together? What if we end up needing each other? So Carter comes up with this plan. He draws a magical symbol on Percy's palm. I think it was like the Eye of Horus or something like that. Something related to Horus. And it's there for a second, and then it just disappears. And Percy's kind of like, what happened? And he explains that this mark will if the time comes where Percy needs Carter, then all he has to do is say Carter's name, and he will know exactly where Percy is, what's going on, you know, all the stuff, what if he's in danger or not. And it only works once. So basically, after this, he cannot say Carter's name at all until the time is right. And that's basically where the book ends. They go their separate ways, and then Carter says something about, he realizes that something happened and that they're going into territory that they really shouldn't be going into. So that's the entire book. It was very good. I give it 4 out of 5, whatever you want to call it. Let's go with scythes. Yeah, 4 out of 5 scythes, because no, not scythes. Scythes is stupid. I give it 4 out of 5 gods. Yeah, 4.5. 4.5. 4.5 gods out of 5. Because it was a very good ebook. I felt like it could have been a little better, but Rick Riordan, as usual, does an amazing job. I own everything of Percy Jackson and the Kane Chronicles he's ever written, and I love it. I love his books. I love Rick Riordan. I don't know if I've ever told you guys a story about him and my cousin, but whatever. That is a story for another day if you guys ever get curious. So I hope you liked the animations I made. I'm glad I finally got to show them to you guys. I'm going to be back on regular schedule. I'll tell you guys why I stopped tomorrow, but I'm going to go back to the way things were, and I'm going to be here to fill you guys in on media and different stuff and new things that are going on. I guess I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.